There we go. I literally just crammed. Like I probably still have meat in my teeth.
Same.
My first meal of the day, actually. Don't do as I say, not as I do. Because, oh, hi, Angela. Nice to see your lovely face. Um, yeah, my cone is very upside down today since I just ate. But I had an appointment for labs today, so I get my labs drawn probably 2 times a year just to kind of keep a pulse on things, as I'm getting older, what's going on, and the old meat suit. The old meat suit, gross. Um, but I had forgotten, but this is the story. I had pulled out some like wonderful bacon last night from the freezer, like a cottage style bacon, if you guys know what that is. It's like a mix between bacon and like Canadian bacon, but it's not straight Canadian bacon. But anyways, and I was like so excited for it, and then I realized I had labs at 12:30 today, and they're fasted labs because they take your fasted glucose and insulin and stuff like that. How hard I had to fight my doctor to get my fasting insulin. That might be a story for another night, but oh my gosh. My doctor also thinks I'm on the verge of like dying from my labs. But another story I'll have to tell you guys. But anyways, it was just a disappointment because I really wanted that bacon. And then my appointment was at 12:30. By the time I got home, it was like 1:30, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait till dinner at this point because I want to sit down with Marie and Tim. So I did. I didn't die, so that's good.
Well, I definitely want to hear the story about getting your fasting insulin tested.
Yeah, so if I can give you guys any suggestion when you guys get if you got, I know some of you guys do get your labs done. I honestly think anybody in middle age should get labs done at least once a year. Ask your doctor. Most of them might be covered like for a yearly thing. And I always get so this is coming from your friend Brandy, not your health coach, because I technically can't give any advice, medical advice about labs and stuff like that. So I'll just tell you what I do, and then you can take that information and run with it. So I get a comprehensive metabolic panel, which is a CMP, very standard. It's like your lipid, your glucose, some inflammatory markers. What else is in there? Some other things, some hormonal things. Your blood glucose. I don't remember if I said that, your fasting blood glucose, but I want to get my insulin done. Not that I necessarily think that I have any kind of level of metabolic syndrome going on, but we also know as we age and as we get more near towards perimenopause and menopause, women just get more insulin resistant. And I think I talked about insulin resistance um, last week. But with the drop of estrogen, estradiol, all of those things, like our bodies just become a little bit more insulin resistant. It's just kind of a physiological thing that happens for most people when they go through that transition. Problem being, most people are entering that transition already in a mildly to moderate insulin resistant state with some kind of level of metabolic syndrome, just because that's the health of kind of the average person. So it's kind of a double whammy when we hit midlife because it can just like close the door to those cells just a little bit more. So I think it's important to get insulin tested. However, testing your fasted insulin, okay, it's not the same as A1C. Your doctor might say it's a fasting insulin test. I'm sure there's some more medical term to it, but it's not a standard test. So there typically has to have a medical reason for your doctor to order this. And I argued a tinch, just a tinch, in a respectful way with my doctor that my medical reason should be that I'm requesting the test. Like, period, end of story. Like, I'm a firm believer in us advocating for ourselves and what we want and having autonomy over that. And if I want a certain test done for my own health, I should be able to just say that, and that should be enough. But the medical system does not agree with that. Um, but the thing with insulin, okay, so you go into the doctor, right? You get your fasting glucose and they say, "Oh, like, but you don't, meanwhile, like, let's just pretend you don't feel well. Okay. You're struggling with weight. You're struggling with tiredness, you're struggling with kind of unmanageable hunger and cravings and that insidious weight gain, especially around the midsection, things like that, you're not feeling well. So you go in and they give you all the tests and they do your blood glucose and they're like, oh, I don't know, your fasting glucose is 82. That's fine. And they send you away. Okay. But what could be happening is insulin's doing its job, right? Insulin is getting that sugar out of your blood and putting it into your cells. So while your blood sugar could look normal, your insulin could be severely elevated because it's an overdrive trying to constantly clean out the sugar from your blood. But they don't test that. So if they did test that, we would probably catch metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, all of that much sooner by those elevated insulin levels, because that tells you something's going wrong. That tells you insulin is working overdrive to get this to clear the sugar, to clear this fuel from your cells. But of course, we don't do that. You can have normal blood sugars for many, many, many years before they become dysregulated because insulin is doing its job. Okay. But if we would have tested insulin in the first place, we probably could have caught a lot of things. So it's just something like, and I like these numbers, right? Like I'm a metabolic health coach. I kind of geek out on this stuff. So I kind of like my numbers. So anyways, we ended with that she would, because my cholesterol, another rabbit hole that we don't have time to go down, my cholesterol was high. I have zero problems with total cholesterol being high, zero problems. But she had problems with that, but it got me in the door of being able to get my fasting insulin. So I just kept my mouth shut on that one. I just think that the way that we test cholesterol and the HDL and the LDL, the good cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, that cholesterol is a leading cause of heart attack. Like none of that's actually true in the first place. And in fact, a lot of people who have heart attacks, and if they pass away from it, they open their bodies up when you do the autopsy, and most of them have low cholesterol, like a significant amount of them. Yeah. I see. Yeah, Lisa. Yeah. I mean, this good topic for you, Lisa. I'm not a medical doctor, and like we need to work with our doctors. I'm not like anti-doctors, and I was telling her, my doctor, like in a very respectful way, it's like she does know more than I do. I'm not going to pretend that I know all about the things, and like labs are not something of my expertise, but I know a few things. But most people who die of heart attacks have low cholesterol. It's just kind of a common misconception, kind of outdated science at this point. But the problem is, and a lot of the newer science shows that there's much more nuance than like your cholesterol and your LDL and HDL and things like that. But it takes many, many years for what we do in practice to line up what the current research is. So we're probably looking at 5 more years for doctors to actually start practicing what we actually know about cholesterol today, which is, it's probably not as harmful as we thought, but there's caveats to this. So I don't want to like tell people like, well, it's never a problem, because that's also not true. But it's just, we understand a very oversimplified idea of like cholesterol equals bad. Even if you went to your doctor and you had something wrong and they're like, well, we need you to adopt a cholesterol-free diet, right? They're going to tell you to take the red meat out. They're going to tell you to not eat the egg yolks and things like that. But we also know that dietary cholesterol does not raise serum cholesterol, so your blood cholesterol. So they are different things. And even if you adopted a zero cholesterol diet, your body still needs cholesterol. Like your brain uses it makes 25% of your cholesterol, your liver, all of your sex hormones, your immune system, all of that is built by cholesterol. So even if you tried to eat zero cholesterol because your doctor told you to do that so you don't have a heart attack or heart disease, either of those things, your body would just compensate. It's like a checks and balance. I think the number is like, and don't quote me on this, like our body needs like 130 grams of cholesterol a day or something. So let's say you ate a no cholesterol diet, your body your liver would just produce the rest of it. It's not like you're going to have zero cholesterol floating, because it's doing its job, because your brain needs it, and your sex hormones and all the other things that I just talked about, our tissues, our cells, all of that use cholesterol. So it's a very important uh, lipid. That's what it is, a lipid, a fat molecule. So I digressed a little bit. That is not what we're talking about today. But I just it's interesting. So I got my labs done today. I'll meet again with my doctor here and hear what she has to say about it again, because I'm sure it will be high. My total cholesterol is always high. Like my doctors literally want to keel over because it's like in the 350s. They're like, "Oh my God, how are you still alive?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. I'm here. I'm good though. Like I'm good." And they're like, they start going down like, "Do you have a family history? Do you?" And I was like, "No, like I'm actually a perfectly healthy individual. Like I promise you." And then they'll, some of them bring up like the whole meat thing, and I'm like, "I'm not even gonna have this conversation with you." And that's the other part of it. Like if our biological diets, which is meat, including red meat, was trying to kill us, we would have died out millennia ago, right? It just like that logic does not track at all when we're thinking about cholesterol. We have been eating cholesterol since the dawn of time, and heart disease and stroke and diabetes and all the other things like these are recent, right? These are modern day illnesses. So it's like, well, why didn't we have that 200,000 years ago then? With the amount, we probably ate more cholesterol because our diets were predominantly meat. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyways, I digress, ladies. But it is a good lesson. So if you guys do get your labs done, ask your doctors to do your fasting insulin. And if they ask you why, you can just tell them that you are a midlife woman and you understand that insulin resistance can be a concern as you enter into your menopause, perimenopause transition, and you want to get it tested. That's what I would say, anyways. And if they fight back, get a new doctor. That's what I think. What are we talking about tonight? Not cholesterol, even though you guys just got a whole lesson on this. Okay, where are we at here? We're welcome to week 4. Officially home stretch, you guys. This is your very, very last week. This one's kind of a bigger one because we're shifting from the food stuff, okay, to the other pillars of health, right? Like the whole sleep and sunlight and the ability to get back on track without throwing away the whole plan. And this is kind of a deviation from my talk tonight too, but I think it's important because I've just had a lot of conversations with women this week about Thanksgiving, like them feeling very off track with their eating because of Thanksgiving. So I want to do a little rant about this, okay? What I like to call the art of getting back on track. This is something that I see derail more people than anything else, to be honest. Like if one thing causes more women to fail off their goals and their diets, it's this. It's not the pizza itself, right? It's not the snacks, it's not the drink, it's not whatever. It's the belief that we messed up, which then becomes I blew it, so I might as well not keep going. Wheels fall off. 2 days of unhealthy, crappy eating or whatever becomes 2 weeks. We kind of enter that F it mode, which I'm sure everybody's experienced before. I already ate 3 cookies. I might as well eat the whole bag. We know logically and rationally, ladies, that makes 0 sense in our brain, but our little diet brains tend to quiet the more rational critical thinking part of our brain. So why does this happen? And I think it happens because, the dieting space and diet culture has really taught us that if we are not perfect with our diets, that we will not succeed, right? If we're not perfect with it, then we're off the plan. We're either on the plan or we're off the plan. There's really no middle zone to this. And if you fail, and if you feel like you failed, you quit. Okay. But here's a reframe, that I have used with some of my clients. I actually have this written in my phone because this is how important I think this phrase is. If you don't ever feel like you're failing, you won't quit. Okay? If you don't ever feel like you're failing, you won't quit. Life is full of, summer cabins and bachelorette parties and emergencies and unplanned events and birthday parties and holidays, and thank God for that, right? Like those are a part of healthy eating. Those should be a part of our healthy eating plans, okay? They are the plan. They aren't a deviation from it, or they're not a derailment from it. The goal is not perfection. The goal is just that ongoing continued forward movement. So being able to roll right back into your routine without kind of going down that like shame spiral, that self-loathing. What did I call it that one time, Angela? Like the whole of, do you know what I'm talking about? I used a word. It's going to come to me and then I'm going to say it. But I just think the concept of learning to fail better, to like learning to fall off the wagon, if you will, and then being able to get back onto it is a really good skill to master. So that way we're not catastrophizing, we're not dramatizing a weekend or a couple of days off plan. We're just returning, okay? Just returning. This is the one skill that will make your results sustainable forever. And to feel like you stop going on and off the wagon, just get rid of the wagon altogether. Just pretend that wagon never even exists. And then we don't have to be on or off it anymore. But I just wanted to say that because, yeah, again, just it's always a conversation I seem to have in the holidays with women just feeling like, and they're not even all women like in my program. They're just like, they can be other women that I talk to that are on other programs. And they're just that feeling that like they're either on or off. And there is just like no middle zone for them to be in. And I just think that's such a mind fuck for people to be on. And that sets more people back than the actual food. The other part that I want to talk about tonight is why sleep is so important. And I know that sounds so boring, you guys, but in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated pillars of metabolic health. If I could teach sleep in week one, I would do that. That's how foundational I think it was, but I would lose everybody because they'd be like, why the hell are we talking about sleep in a diet program? But here's the truth. If your sleep sucks, your metabolism will probably not cooperate as well as you want it to. You can eat perfectly, you can walk every day, you can train hard, you can do every reset fundamental flawlessly. But if you are sleep deprived, whether it's the amount of sleep or whether it's the quality of your sleep, your body is going to have some setbacks for fat loss. So what does good sleep even look like? I would say falling asleep within 20 minutes. When you lay down, do you fall asleep within 20 minutes? Staying asleep with minimal wake ups, okay? Waking up naturally or before your alarm clock. Feeling well rested and focused when you wake up in the morning, okay? This doesn't need to be immediate. Sometimes people have this preconceived notion that we should just like jump out of bed like the Energizer Bunny and just like, feet hit the ground running. I mean, some people do, but it does take a moment, right? It takes a moment. Like your melatonin actually stays elevated for the first couple of hours you're up. It just doesn't clear our system like that. So it takes a moment for like your nighttime hormones and your nighttime processes to like hand the baton to your like daytime ones. So, but I would say within the first couple of hours, like you should feel kind of like alert and energized, not still kind of groggy from your sleep. You'd have minimal daytime fatigue. Okay. There are some natural circadian lulls in a day, and that's around 3 p.m. Everybody talks about this 3 p.m. slump, but I'm here to normalize the 3 p.m. slump and I don't think we know why. I don't think science knows why this is, but there is just a dip in our circadian and our body temperature and a little bump in melatonin about 8 to 10 hours after you wake up in the morning. And that's usually what people align with their like afternoon slump. But sometimes it's normal. Like it's just a normal physiological, some people predict that's when we would have taken a nap. I'm all for that. Like if you take a nap, I think that's great. Or just like your afternoon siesta, right? So yeah, there's a couple theories out there about why that happens, but I also want people to know that's normal, right? And it's not a food thing. It's not a food energy thing. We don't need food. Our body's not asking for that. It's a circadian energy kind of thing. But we can easily exacerbate that when we feel low on energy and we're like, oh, I'm just going to have a quick hit here of some sugar, right? A candy bar or a sugary coffee or something like that. Because it's like now we're on a blood sugar roller coaster when we were already kind of in a lull. And now we're going to feel even worse because of that. What else does good sleep look like? A pretty consistent bedtime and wake schedule. If you have a strong circadian rhythm, this should kind of just happen. I know a lot of people talk about like, well, I love to sleep in the weekends, and their weekends are like dramatically different. Like they're sleeping 2, 3 hours different times on the weekend. And that's because you're not getting enough restorative sleep during the week. Okay. But you can't really make up for it. I know we like to pretend like, oh, I slept an extra couple hours to make up for lack of sleep this week, but it doesn't really work like that. You can't pay off your sleep debt with just like sleeping more on the weekends per se. But if this is you guys with sleep, I honestly don't think that there's one person I've ever worked with that has not marked down that they have some kind of struggle with sleep, whether it's staying asleep, getting to sleep, deeming themselves as a light sleeper, things like that. Most people struggle with sleep, but now we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it tonight. All your problems, all your sleep problems. Um, why is this even important? Like, why am I even talking about sleep? And it's because sleep has metabolic implications to it. Okay. So I want to connect the dots between like sleep, stress, cortisol, and metabolism. Um, Sleep is not passive, even though we feel like we're kind of dead to the world when we sleep. It's when our brain detoxifies, it's when our hormones repair and build, your tissues repair, your immune system resets. You release growth hormones, right? That's like your fat burning, one of your fat burning hormones, should I say. It's a time when we kind of like consolidate and compartmentalize and what's the word I'm looking for? Shift around memories, right? Think of it as kind of like a cellular cleanup. And it's also when we technically lose fat. Okay, did you guys know that you actually breathe out fat when you're losing weight, when you're actually like burning body fat, you breathe it out through carbon dioxide and water. That's kind of cool. And most of that process happens when you sleep. So you can see if you could get in a little bit of trouble of not having super great sleep because a lot of this processes are because it's all on a circadian rhythm, right? Your entire body is on a circadian rhythm, and this whole like carbon dioxide water thing when you're in a deficit and your body is breaking down stored energy, that stored energy oxidizes in your body carbon dioxide and water, CO2 and water, and then we eliminate it through our breath. But that process is more conducive to your circadian rhythm at night. Kind of a cool fact. Nobody thought they were breathing out their fat, but that is actually how it works. Now, if you skip sleep for whatever reason, if we just choose that we want to stay up all night and break all the rules and sit up and watch TV, or in my case, I have a 3-year-old who sleeps in bed with me and I get shit sleep now. And this is something that I've just had to surrender to because there's not much I can do with it. But I definitely feel the ramifications from it sometimes. But when we skip sleep for whatever reason, your body kind of enters a stress induced response. We are diurnal animals. Okay. That means we are animals that are awake during the day most of the time and sleeping at night. The opposite of nocturnal animals, which are asleep all day and then they are up all night. So if you're awake when the sun is down, your biology kind of assumes they're a threat. Think if you were out in the wild, okay? If you're an animal out in the wild and you're up at night and you're supposed to be sleeping. It's for only a couple of reasons. Maybe there's a threat, right? That you have to like protect your other little animals or your herd. Maybe you are the person who is up taking night watch, right? Watching over all the other people or all the other animals sleeping. There's some reason that you are up, but your biology kind of assumes that's a stress or a threat. So cue cortisol, right? Cortisol. I did a whole podcast about cortisol, by the way. If anybody wants to listen to that, I have a podcast on Spotify where I really break down cortisol, since it's been something that has been, I don't know, blown up in the social media space about making everybody fat is really what cortisol does, which is not that easy. But so cortisol isn't bad. It wakes you up in the morning. It helps you lift weights. It helps you jump out of jump out of the way of a moving car so you can get that quick energy. But chronically elevated cortisol from stress, from lack of sleep, from late night scrolling, from too much caffeine at night. I'm looking at you, Angela.
I heard that. It only took like a month of working with you for you to finally ask me how much coffee I drink in a day.
A month of you steering away from the conversation of how much fucking coffee you were drinking a
I
day.
mean,
Can,
yeah,
can I tell this little story? Because it's kind of funny. Like,
sure.
and well, okay, you've already said that you were one of my private clients, but so we're like working through stuff, kind of working through some like sleep stuff, things like that. Everything's like going around. We're like a month into our coaching relationship. And I don't even know how we started talking about it. But the conversation about like coffee and caffeine, right? Because everybody kind of generally knows that if we eat or drink caffeine later in the day, most people will run into sleep issues. And Angela was like, "Yeah, I have like 6 cups during the day, and then I have one at like 6 p.m." And I was like, "What?" And you, because no, I know what we. Oh my God, you kill me. You seriously kill
Coffee
me.
because crack is bad for you.
Well, we were having the conversation because Angela was feeling a little tired when she woke up in the morning, right? And
Weird.
I'm a very solutions-based person. So like trying to like figure out like, well, what is it? Is it blue light at night? And she's like, well, I drink a cup of coffee at 6. And I was like, really?
Oh, I used to drink it up until right before I went to sleep. Like
So,
finish my cup and go brush my teeth for bed.
oh my
And
gosh.
then I
So
couldn't figure out why I couldn't stay asleep.
we solved the problem because I'm pretty sure that was probably part of it. But
Yeah.
Angela loves her coffee. So, we just
Yeah.
have to. But I think it was a funny story. But
It was pretty
think
funny.
it was things like that, like scrolling, overthinking, um, raises cortisol. Blue light at night raises cortisol, and then that dumps sugar into your bloodstream as if you're running from a predator, right? Your body doesn't really know that it's like, oh, well, she's just scrolling Instagram with blue light and, terrible fear-mongering news all over the world at 9 p.m. Like your body can't decipher that from a saber-toothed tiger running after you. It's just going to respond accordingly. So what happens is now you have now you have high cholesterol. Now you have high cortisol. Then you have high blood sugar. Then you have low energy. You have more hunger, more cravings, and insulin resistance is brewing. We know this, and I try to tell my husband this, even though he doesn't listen to me. Weird that blue light at night, and I'm going to go into this a little bit more, is extremely bad for us. I would have these on right now if it wasn't so hard to see them. But generally, I have those on when the sun goes down. But we know that it raises cortisol and the whole blood sugar response happens. And that is also a way that people can become more insulin resistant. So, all of this to say, like, we can either eat our way into insulin resistance or we can also stress our way into insulin resistance. So, how to sleep better? Like, now that I just told you that how bad not getting sleep is for you, what can we do? Okay. Let's make sleep practical. Like no Pinterest level bedtime routines here because I don't have four hours to focus on a bedtime routine, but just a few simple tools that I'm going to go through with you guys quick. With the idea that we want to switch our body from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state. Everybody kind of know those. Your sympathetic state is your fight or flight, and your parasympathetic state is your rest and digest. We want to be in our rest mode, our calm zone, our zen before we go to bed. So, first thing, screen curfew. I just kind of talked about this. Blue light tells your brain it's daytime. Okay. Our body's circadian rhythm is very sensitive and very attuned to light. Like I've talked about, like the rising and the setting in the sun. We need to get the right light at the right time of the day, right? Blue light during the day, natural light, all that's good. And the appropriate light in the evening, which is not a lot of light, right? Think of like the sun setting. It's like orange and ambers and yellows and things like that. It's not blue, okay? And actually, fun fact, the light on our phones that our phones emit is similar to the light of midday noon. So like you bet this bad boy in your face at 9 p.m. and your body's like, I thought it was just nighttime, but I guess it's the middle of the day. And it's going to raise cortisol again because cortisol is a daytime hormone. Nothing wrong with that if it was the day. Everything wrong with that if it's at night. So I don't know, screen curfew might not be a bad idea. 30 minutes before bed, an hour before bed, 2 hours before bed, things like that. You can also, I don't know, can you guys see this? Can you? You can also, I think I've talked to you about this before, turn your phone screen red. If you have an Apple, I know you can do it on Android now too. I just don't know how it is. But there's a way that you can go into your settings. And if I'm because I also want to say this is real life. And I'm not going to say that I like don't sit on my phone and scroll sometimes at night or I'm not working or something like that. But I will turn my phone red then because red is a longer wavelength and it does not disrupt melatonin. Another fun fact. Number 2, dim the lights after sunset. Okay. Don't stop having like your big overhead lights on. Use, like, if you guys see, I have all these little task lamps like around my house and they have either red or amber or I'm like trying to point to it and I can't figure out which way my finger should go. There's red and orange lights in it. Even this light over here that's not on, all of our lights downstairs, we don't have any overhead lights on when the sun goes down. They're all just kind of like those like calm, warm kind of lights. Okay. This mimics the natural world, right? Your biology loves this. Close your eating window. This is a circadian meal timing thing too. Best case scenario, if you cannot eat 4 hours before bed, that's like optimal, right? But anywhere from 2 to 4 hours before bed, stop eating. Okay. Like ideally for you guys, I would like you guys to break fast like a king, depending on how many meals you have after that, 1 or 2, your dinner being the lightest. And then in my perfect world, you wouldn't have any more food after that, right? There wouldn't be any snacking or anything after dinner. So theoretically, this would work out, right? You would probably have 2, 3, 4 hours of no eating before you go to bed. We just don't want to go to bed on a full stomach. Melatonin, your nighttime hormone, and insulin, your daytime fueling hormone, they're antagonistic. Okay, like if melatonin is rising and you're eating, melatonin is going to go back to the bunker. Okay, melatonin and insulin cannot coexist. They are counter regulatory hormones. They're not going to be in the blood at the same time. What else? Tap into your parasympathetic state. I said that. Just your chill system, right? Like avoid intense workouts, avoid blowouts with your partners, like stressful work at night. Probably don't do that because you're going to elevate yourself. What else can we do? Create a sleep sanctuary. Okay. Cool, dark, clutter free. That's what we like to think of a cave. Cool, dark, clutter free. Real darkness, right? Cover up lights, unplug devices. I know this is going to get blackout curtains. I have blackout curtains. There is black tape that you can buy. Does anybody have like those little outlets but they have a little light on them? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about though? You can buy black tape, like black nighttime tape to like tape, or if you have a TV in your bedroom and there's that little light that stays on, you can just buy, it's like from Amazon, it's super cheap and you can just rip off little pieces and put it on that so your room is super, super dark. And I know this seems like tedious, like it probably doesn't make a big difference, but it does. Like we are very, very sensitive to light, especially the wrong light in the middle of the night. What else can we do? You can take your phone out of your bedroom. I know that's going to be radical for most people to do. I slept without my phone in my room for years, and it was the one most wonderful thing. Not only do we just wake up better because we don't wake up, grab our phone, and start scrolling, but I think it's just a nice boundary, right? And an alarm. If you guys use your phone for an alarm clock, you can just buy an alarm clock. We looked.
Well, can I say something too? Another thing that I do with my phone, because I do keep my phone in the room in case of emergency, somebody, needs to call or whatever. But I do, you can set up like modes for your phone. So like a sleep mode. So mine automatically goes to grayscale and no notifications will go off like at 10 p.m. and then it'll wake back up at 6 a.m. So the screen will turn colorized again and my notifications will sound. But yeah, I had to kind of make adjustments there. And that little trick that you taught about changing your screen color to like a reddish color, you told me that and you like you Googled it or whatever, and we did it on my phone because I have an Android. But yeah, there's like a little, because mine, let's say, and then I can just hit the little thing there and it turns red.
Oh, yours is even quicker to do that. Oh,
Yeah, you can put the little button on the bottom as a shortcut.
cool.
So that
So
was really cool.
yeah, there's all these little things, like very easy, simple things that we can just try to minimize artificial light at night. And I do like that. And I also just think that sets some healthy boundaries with their phones because I think everybody could probably take a break from their phone. After the reset, you guys, I'm going back to my Sundays of social media free Sundays because I just need you guys, if you follow me, you know that I'm on social media a lot because it's part of my job. So I have to be. But sometimes I'm exhausted. I'm just like talking into the world. I'm like, is anybody out there? And I know people are listening, but you're like, I want to stop talking right now. So I just think they're good boundaries to have. What's the other? Okay, two more things. This is probably one of the most important things. Get morning light. Get morning light as soon as you can in the morning when the sun comes up. Obviously, if you're in the Midwest or, somewhere in that area, the sun is not coming out as early as it used to be. That's not a big deal, right? We don't need to like cheat nature here, but if it doesn't come out till 7:30, just get outside. Even if you can only do 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, it is truly worth it. That is what resets your circadian rhythm for the day. That is like your cue to the body that a new day has begun, and all of those hormonal processes that I've talked about with cortisol and adrenaline and serotonin and insulin, all of those things just to start wake up more fast, and you just kind of anchor into that natural circadian rhythm faster when you do this. I don't think we should skip on this. Even if you're driving to work and the sun is just coming up, crack your window. Okay, turn your heat on, crack your window. I do this all the time because I'm often up before the sun is. Because light waves bend, right? Like you're still going to get some in. It's better than nothing. I actually just bought, and I'm not sure I'm super convinced. I listened to a Huberman podcast and he was it was the Cortisol Huberman podcast. And he talked about, you guys have heard of like the happy lamps that people use, like, some people with depression or some people that want to mimic daylight. They're like those really bright lamps that you can just plug in. And I guess there's some research that if you can do that, and don't quote me on this because I could be not stating this correctly, that if you can get that light, especially for us right now, because the daylight does not come out till later in the day. So this is kind of before that. If you have daylight right away in the morning, you don't need this. You just need to go outside. But winter time, if you can get that on you within 30 minutes of waking up, you actually can give yourself like an extra cortisol boost, which is good. Like we want cortisol high in the morning. Like that's what gets us up and like focused and like ready to go. So I bought one and I've been doing it in the mornings. Like I literally just flick it on in the morning and I sit in front of it while I'm drinking my coffee. So I don't know. And I usually feel pretty awake and alert in the morning. So might be something to consider if you have a lot of darkness still in the morning. But again, when it's like summertime and it's just light, just go outside. Just go sit on your porch for a few minutes while you drink your coffee or contemplate your day or whatever you do in the morning. But it is truly, really, really important. What else did I want to talk about, you guys? What else did I have on the lesson? Food Fundamental 6, don't drink your calories. I don't think I'm going to go into that. I don't think I'm going to go too far into that. I feel like it's pretty, unless you guys have any questions about it, but I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory if you read the lesson. Like the moral of the story is liquid calories fly under the radar and mess with your progress more than you think. Like we don't need to fear our beverages, like your your Starbucks coffee, your glass of wine, or whatever. But I just think that we need to be honest and aware of those things because it can truly add up really quick. Like I know people that have like a Starbucks, one of the foo-foo drinks every single day, and like those bad boys are like 350 calories. It's like, and for somebody who's trying to lose weight, like that could easily tip you over into the side of you no longer being in a calorie deficit just by like sipping 350 calories of something very unsatiating, right? You're not getting any kind of like nutrients, essential nutrients from that. I think that also all that I had for. Does anybody have any questions? I just babbled a lot about a lot of different topics. No? Um, Next week. Okay, so this is our final official Facebook call together, right? Because the reset is over in a week. So what's going to happen next week? So next Tuesday, mark your calendars at 9:30 a.m. I'm going to jump on a Facebook Live inside the group to wrap things up. It's not going to be like a formal Zoom call like this. I'm just going to go on a Facebook Live, and it's going to be at 9:30 in the morning on Tuesday. And we're going to talk about next steps. We're going to talk about how to transition out of the reset. We're going to talk about how to keep your results going. Like how do you keep doing this, right? Because that's the whole thing. You got to keep doing this, otherwise it's not going to work. Whether you want to spread your wings and go solo, or if you want to roll into private coaching with me, which I think there's already a couple ladies here in the reset who are doing that. So that's pretty cool. And then of course I talked about like I do offer that one-time discount for my reset graduates of that $500 discount to work with me in a private manner. And then the other, I have a giveaway, and I never tell anybody about the giveaway until we're at the very, very end of it. But I have a giveaway. So I'm going to draw names old fashioned out of a bowl with paper names on there. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 winners for a little care package that I will send out in the mail to you guys. I think that's it. The other thing, you can get blue blockers. I know I look freaking sexy in these. You don't have to you don't have to tell me. You can get blue blockers, get orange or amber, okay? That's the rule though. They have to be, hold on here. Orange, amber. Can you see that? You can buy these on Amazon for like, Lisa, I need to see your dog more. I know they are so cute. You can buy them on Amazon for like $20. It's just worth it. When the sun goes down, throw them on. Oh, look at that face. Would they not be the best of friends, Angela?
They're gonna meet right now. Henry, come here.
Oh my
Henry, come here.
goodness.
See, I got a little shithead puppy too, so
Oh
let's
yeah,
get
I
him out of the
forgot
way.
that one too.
Okay, here, Henry, look. Look at, there's a friend.
It's so funny how the faces do just like look the same.
They do look exactly the
Oh,
same.
oh my goodness. That is so fun. Yeah, grab a pair of blue blockers on Amazon. $20, great investment. Throw them on when the sun goes down so you don't disrupt your sleep. Look at those faces. Where's your puppy?
There he is.
My puppy, he's the little
Yeah.
black thing.
Where
The
is
little
he?
shadow. He's there. Lucky.
Look at that thing, you guys. Oh my God. Oh, whoa, that's not lucky. Where's the little one? Ah, he's cute.
He's like 20 pounds and Henry's like 200 pounds. They're so funny together.
The same kind of dog.
No, not at all. Actually, the little one is half golden retriever, half black German shepherd.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
okay.
I couldn't handle 2 more big dogs.
I don't even think you'd be able to walk them. They would walk you.
Yeah.
I think our mastiffs are like twins.
I
my
know.
God. They do look a lot like. Oh my gosh.
You have one?
I have one English mastiff, and then I have I don't know how do you change. I have a bulldog boxer mix
Oh my gosh.
as well.
So cute.
She's a
What do
little
you have,
trick.
Carlene?
We have a Wheaten Terrier.
Oh, they're beautiful.
She's so shaggy right now. She's going to the groomers tomorrow. Don't tell her.
Oh my goodness.
Going
I
to the
love
puppy
how
spa.
this is gonna turn into a meet and greet for our dogs too, the reset call. It's like everybody show up at the call with your dog. If you don't
I
have one,
wouldn't
you can't join the
I
reset.
wouldn't be mad
right?
about that.
Okay, ladies. That was kind of it. Sleep,
Here.
cortisol,
You want to see?
and some other things I threw in there oh, there we
There's that little
go.
girl.
And this is the one time I don't have Zool behind me sleeping on the bed. Of course.
She was on the bed. She was already sleeping.
Ladies,
So-
glad you guys made it to the last call. Hopefully you guys can all just tune in and watch the Facebook Live next Tuesday, 9:30, draw some winners and kind of just talk about next steps and send you off with some words of wisdom from yours truly.
Perfect.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Thanks,
Bye.
Randy. Bye.